The morning fog was still thick when Jake stepped out of his ranger station. I'd been working in these woods for 7 years now, and he knew every trail, every rock, every tree that made unusual sounds in the wind. But today was different. Today, there was a sound he had never heard before. It started around 3 in the morning. It's a loud crash that shook his small cabin and sent his coffee mug tumbling to the floor. At first, he thought it might be a large tree falling, or maybe even a small earthquake. But when he looked outside, he saw something that made his heart race. There was a strange orange glow coming from somewhere deep in the forest about 2 miles from his station. Jake grabbed his backpack, flashlight, and first aid kit. As a forest ranger, he had seen plenty of strange things over the years. Getting lost, illegal campers, even the occasional bear that wandered too close to hiking trails. But this orange glow was different. It wasn't like fire, and it wasn't like any light he had ever seen before. The walk through the forest took him about 40 minutes. The closer he got to the light, the more unusual things became. The trees around the area looked burned, but not in the way that forest fires usually burned them. These trees looked like they had been touched by some kind of intense heat that came and went very quickly. The leaves were still green, but the bark had strange black marks on it. When Jake finally reached the source of the light, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. There, in a clearing that definitely wasn't there yesterday, was what looked like a vehicle. But it wasn't like any vehicle he had ever seen. It was about the size of a small airplane. But it was perfectly round and made of some kind of metal that seemed to change color when he looked at it from different angles. The orange glow was coming from inside the vehicle. Jake could see through what looked like windows, though they were nothing like car windows. It seemed to be made of some kind of clear material that was much thicker than glass. And inside, he could see 2 figures. Jake's training kicked in immediately. Whatever this was, whoever these people were, they might need help. He walked around the vehicle looking for some kind of door or opening. On one side, he found what looked like it might be an entrance, but it was sealed shut. He tried pushing on it, but nothing happened. That's when he heard it. A soft sound, almost like someone moaning in pain. It was coming from inside the vehicle. Jake knew he had to get inside somehow, but he wasn't sure how. He tried knocking on the clear material, hoping to get the attention of whoever was inside. Suddenly, there was a soft hissing sound, and the door-like section of the vehicle slowly opened. The orange glow became much brighter, and Jake had to shield his eyes for a moment. When his vision adjusted, he saw 2 people lying inside what looked like very comfortable seats, though they were unlike any seats he had ever seen. Both figures looked human, but something was off about them. Their skin had a slight blue tint to it, and their hair was white, not the white of old age, but a pure, almost glowing white.
One of them,
who looked younger, was the source of the orange glow. Her skin was literally glowing with an internal light, and she was shaking uncontrollably. The other figure, who appeared to be older, opened her eyes and looked at Jake. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then she spoke, and though her voice was weak, Jake could understand her perfectly. "Help. Please help her," she said, pointing to the younger woman. "She is dying." Jake didn't hesitate. He had been trained in emergency first aid, and even though he had never seen anything like this before, he knew someone needed help. He climbed into the vehicle and immediately felt the heat coming from the younger woman. It was like standing next to a campfire. "What's wrong with her?" Jake asked. The older woman. "Your air," she replied, breathing heavily. "Your air is poison to us. She is burning from inside. I am stronger, but she... Double quotes, her voice trailed off. Jake looked more closely at the younger woman. She was beautiful, in a way that was both human and completely foreign at the same time. Her skin was glowing brighter now, and he could see that. She was in tremendous pain. Sweat was pouring down her face, and she was breathing in short, quick gasps. "How can I help her?" Jake asked. The older woman struggled to sit up. "Our ship... It has medicine. But it is broken. She needs... She needs..." She seemed to be searching for words. "She needs someone to take the fire from her, to pull the heat away. But it is dangerous. Dangerous for your kind." Jake didn't fully understand what she meant, but he understood that this young woman was dying, and that somehow he might be able to help her. He had never been one to walk away from someone who needed help, no matter how strange the situation was. "Tell me what to do," he said simply. The older woman looked at him with surprise. "You would risk your life for a stranger? For someone who is not even from your world?" Jake looked at the younger woman, who was now glowing so brightly that it was hard to look directly at her. "She's dying, isn't she?" "Yes," the older woman whispered. "Then we don't have time to think about it. Tell me what to do." And so, in a clearing in the forest that hadn't existed the day before, next to a vehicle that couldn't possibly be from Earth, Jake learned that he was about to attempt something that would change all of their lives forever. Jake had made difficult decisions before in his life, but nothing like this. He looked at the older woman who was struggling to stay conscious and asked, "What exactly do I need to do?" "Thermal bonding," she whispered. "You must place your hands on her skin and draw the fire into yourself. But I must warn you, many of my people have died trying to save others this way. Your human body is not built for this kind of heat." Jake looked at the younger woman again. Her glow was getting brighter by the minute, and he could see that she was in terrible pain. Her whole body was shaking, and she kept making small sounds of distress even though she was unconscious. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "Maybe 1 hour, maybe less," the older woman replied. "The fire will consume her completely if we cannot stop it." Jake took a deep breath. He had always been someone who helped others, even when it was dangerous. When he was younger, he had pulled a child from a burning car. Last year, he had climbed down a cliff to rescue a hiker who had fallen. This was different, but the principle was the same. Someone needed help, and he was the only one who could provide it. "Okay," he said. "Tell me exactly what to do." The older woman tried to sit up straighter. "First, you must understand. When you touch her skin, you will feel like you are burning alive. The pain will be worse than anything you have ever felt. You must not let go, no matter how much it hurts. If you let go too soon, the fire will return to her even stronger than before." Jake nodded. "What else?" "Place both hands on her shoulders first. The fire will begin to move from her into you. You will feel it traveling through your arms and into your chest. This is normal. When the fire reaches your heart, you will want to scream. Do not let go. When it reaches your mind, you will see things, you will feel things that are not yours. Do not be afraid. This is how our people share the fire." Jake looked at his hands. They were rough from years of outdoor work, scarred from various accidents and injuries. He had never imagined they would be used to save someone from another world. "How will I know when it's working?" he asked. "Her glow will begin to fade," the older woman said, "and you will begin to glow instead, but you must be very careful. Take only as much fire as you can handle. If you take too much, you will die, and then she will die too." Jake moved closer to the younger woman. Even from a few inches away, he could feel the heat coming from her skin. It was like being near a furnace. He hesitated for just a moment, then placed both hands on her shoulders. The effect was immediate and shocking. It felt like he had grabbed 2 pieces of burning metal with his bare hands. The pain shot up his arms and into his chest, and he had to fight every instinct in his body not to pull away. Through gritted teeth, he managed to say, "Is it working?" The older woman was watching. "Carefully, yes. I can see the fire beginning to move. Do not let go." Jake held on as the burning sensation spread through his body. It felt like his blood was turning to liquid fire, flowing through his veins and setting everything inside him ablaze. His vision began to blur, and he could hear his own heart beating so loudly it sounded like thunder in his ears. Then something strange happened. Along with the pain, he began to feel something else, emotions that weren't his own. He could feel the younger woman's fear, her confusion, her desperate desire to live. He could sense her memories flashing through his mind like pictures in a photo album he had never seen before. He saw a beautiful world with 2 suns and purple skies. Saw cities that floated in the air and forests made of crystal trees. Saw the younger woman as a child, laughing and playing with others who looked like her. And then he saw darker images: war, destruction, people running and screaming. He saw the two women fleeing their world, hoping to find safety somewhere else. Through it all, the pain in his body continued to grow. It felt like every cell in his body was on fire, but he held on. He could see that the younger woman's glow was definitely getting dimmer, and her shaking was beginning to stop. "Good," the older woman said. "It is working, but you must be careful now. I can see the fire building in you. Do not take too much." Jake could feel what she meant. The fire inside him was growing stronger, and he realized that if he wasn't careful, he would end up in the same condition as the younger woman. He tried to slow down the process, to control how much heat he was absorbing, but it was like trying to control a river with his bare hands. "I don't know how to stop it," he said, through clenched teeth. The older woman struggled to reach over and touch his arm. "Think of something cold," she said. "Think of the coldest thing you have ever experienced. Focus on that feeling." Jake thought of the worst winter he had ever experienced in these mountains. He remembered the morning when he had woken up to find his cabin completely buried in snow when the temperature was so cold that his breath froze in the air. He focused on that memory, on the feeling of stepping outside into air so cold it hurt to breathe. Gradually, he felt the fire inside him begin to stabilize. It was still there, still burning, but it was no longer growing stronger. The younger woman's glow continued to fade until it was just a soft, gentle light.
Oh.
Like a candle instead of a bonfire. Finally, Jake felt it was safe to let go. He removed his hands from her shoulders and immediately collapsed backward, exhausted. His whole body felt like he had been running for hours, and he could barely keep his eyes open. The younger woman's eyes fluttered open, and she looked directly at him. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then she smiled, and Jake realized that he had never seen anything so beautiful in his entire life. Jake lay on the floor of the strange vehicle, breathing heavily. His whole body felt different now, like he had been changed from the inside out. The fire he had absorbed from the younger woman was still there, but it wasn't burning him anymore. Instead, it felt like a warm current running through his veins. It's giving him energy he had never experienced before. The younger woman sat up slowly, looking much better than she had just minutes before. Her skin had returned to its normal pale blue color, and the dangerous glow was gone. She looked at Jake with eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 emotions. "You saved my life," she said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical quality. That made it sound like she was singing rather than speaking. Jake struggled to sit up. "How do you know English so well?" She smiled, and Jake felt a strange warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the fire he had absorbed. "We have been listening to your radio signals for many years. We've learned your language from your television, shows, and music. But now, because of what you did, I can understand much more than just words." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. The older woman, who had been quietly watching them, spoke up. "The thermal bonding creates a connection between minds. You can now sense each other's emotions and thoughts. It is permanent." Jake felt a flutter of panic. "You mean she can read my mind?" The younger woman laughed, and the sound was like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Not exactly. It is more like I can feel what you feel. When you are happy, I will sense happiness. When you are sad, I will know. And you will sense the same from me." As if to prove her point, Jake suddenly felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. It wasn't his own gratitude, but hers. He could feel how thankful she was for what he had done, and underneath that he sensed something else, a feeling of safety and comfort that she hadn't felt in a long time. "This is so strange," Jake said, running his hands through his hair. "I can actually feel what you're feeling right now," she said softly, "and I can feel your confusion. Do not worry. Connection will become more natural with time." Jake looked around the inside of their vehicle. Now that he wasn't focused on the emergency, he could see it more clearly. Everything looked both familiar and completely foreign at the same time. There were no buttons or switches that he could recognize, but somehow he understood what everything was for. "How am I able to understand your technology?" he asked. The older woman answered, "The thermal bonding shares more than just fire. It shares knowledge, memories, understanding. You now carry part of our sister's mind within you, and she carries part of yours. Jake felt another wave of emotion that wasn't his own. This time it was curiosity the younger woman was experiencing. His memories of the forest, of his life as a ranger, of the simple pleasure he found in walking through the woods on a quiet morning. "I can see your memories," she said with wonder. "Your world is so beautiful. Your trees, your animals, the way the sunlight filters through the leaves. We had trees on our world, but they were very different." "What happened to your world?" Jake asked. The mood in the vehicle suddenly became heavy. Jake felt a deep sadness that seemed to come from both women at once. The younger woman's eyes filled with tears. "There was a war," she said quietly. "Our people were divided about many things. Some wanted to stay on our world and fight to make it better. Others wanted to leave and find new places to live. The fighting went on for many years, and eventually, our world became uninhabitable." Through their connection, Jake could see flashes of her memories. He saw the beautiful world he had glimpsed before, but now he saw it dying. He saw the crystal forests turning black, the floating cities crashing to the ground, the purple skies filling with smoke and ash. "We are among the last of our people," the older woman added. "When we left our world, there were maybe 100 of us scattered across different ships. We do not know how many survived the journey to other worlds." Jake felt a deep sadness for these two women who had lost everything they had ever known. But he also felt something else through his connection. With the younger woman? Hope. She was feeling hope for the first time in months, and it was because of him. "You have given me something I thought I had lost forever," she said, looking directly into his eyes. "You have given me hope that there are still good people in the universe, people who will risk everything to help a stranger." Jake felt his face getting warm. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," the older woman said firmly. "What you did was extraordinary. In our culture, thermal bonding is not something that is done lightly. It creates a bond that cannot be broken. You are now connected to our sister for life." Jake looked at the younger woman, trying to process what this meant. "Are you okay with that?" he asked her. She was quiet for a moment, and through their connection, Jake could feel her thinking. She was scared, but not of him. She was scared of hoping too much, of believing that she might have found someone who truly cared about her. "I am more than okay with it," she said finally. "You are the first person in a very long time who has shown me true kindness. Our connection, I can feel that your heart is good. You do not seek to harm others, you only want to help." Jake felt a warmth spreading through his chest, and he realized that some of it was his own emotion, and some of it was hers. Their feelings were beginning to blend together in a way that was both strange and comforting. "What happens now?" he asked. The younger woman looked at her sister, then back at Jake. "Now, we must decide what to do with this gift we have been given. We are no longer just two refugees from a dying world. We are three people connected by something stronger than friendship, stronger than family. We're connected by choice, by sacrifice, by love." Jake felt his heart skip a beat when she said the word love. Through their connection, he could feel that she didn't mean romantic love. Not yet, anyway. She meant the love that comes from knowing someone would risk their life for you. The love that comes from true understanding and acceptance. "I don't know what the future holds," Jake said honestly. "But I know that I want to help you find other survivors. I want to help you build a new life here, if that's what you want." The younger woman smiled, and Jake felt a burst of joy that was so strong. It almost took his breath away. "Then we will face the future together," she said, "all three of us." 3 days had passed since Jake brought the two alien women to his cabin. The older sister was recovering well, but she spent most of her time trying to repair their damaged ship with parts. Jake had helped her gather from his workshop. Meanwhile, Jake and the younger woman had grown closer as they learned to navigate their new connection. Jake had never experienced anything like it. He could feel her emotions as clearly as his own, and sometimes he would catch glimpses of her thoughts without meaning to. She was teaching him about her world, showing him memories of beautiful places and strange creatures through their mental link. In return, she was learning about Earth through his eyes. Fascinated by everything from the way morning dew formed on leaves to the sound of birds singing at dawn. On this particular morning, Jake was showing her around his cabin while her sister worked on the ship outside. They were in his small kitchen, and he was explaining how he prepared meals from the plants and animals in the forest. She was sitting at his kitchen table, watching him with curious eyes as he made coffee. "Your people consume so many different things," she said, smiling. "On our world, we mostly absorbed energy directly from our suns. Food was more for pleasure than survival." Jake poured 2 cups of coffee and sat down across from her. "I wish I could have seen your world before the war." "Through our connection, you have seen it," she replied. "And in a way it lives on in my memories. Maybe that is enough." As they talked, Jake noticed that she was sitting closer to him than usual. The thermal bonding had created an invisible pull between them, and he found himself wanting to be near her more and more. It wasn't just romantic attraction, though that was certainly part of it. It was something deeper, like his soul recognized hers. "Can I ask you something?" Jake said, reaching across the table to take her hand. "Of course, do you regret the bonding? I mean, you didn't choose it. It was forced on you by the situation." She squeezed his hand gently. "I could never regret. Something that saved my life. Okay. But more than that, I have never felt as understood by anyone as I do by you. Even among my own people, I was always different. I always felt like I was searching for something I could never name. Now I know what it was." "What was it?" "A true companion. Someone who would know me completely and still choose to stay." Jake felt a warmth in his chest that he knew was both his emotion and hers mixing together. He was about to respond when they heard footsteps on the cabin's front porch. The older sister pushed open the door and stepped inside, her arms full of broken electronic components. She looked tired and frustrated, her white hair disheveled from working on the ship all morning. When she saw Jake and her sister sitting close together, holding hands across the table, she stopped dead in her tracks. For a moment, nobody moved. Jake could feel the younger woman's sudden anxiety through their connection. The older sister's expression slowly changed from surprise to something much more serious. "What is this?" Her voice quiet but carrying a tone that made Jake's skin crawl. "Sister, please let me explain," the younger woman said, standing up quickly. "Explain what?" The older sister dropped the components on the floor with a loud crash. "Explain how you have forgotten everything. Explain how you have abandoned our mission. Explain how you have chosen to play house with this alien while our people might still be dying out there." Jake stood up too, sensing the tension in the room. "Wait a minute. Nobody has abandoned anything. We've been trying to help you fix your ship." The older sister turned her angry gaze on Jake. "You do not understand what you have done. You do not understand what this bonding means to our people." "Explain it to me," Jake said, trying to keep his voice calm. "In our culture, thermal bonding is sacred. It is a promise between 2 souls to share their lives completely. It is supposed to be done with great ceremony, with the blessing of family and community. It represents not just love between 2 people, but a commitment to the continuation of our species." Jake felt the younger woman's distress growing stronger. Through their connection, he could sense her conflict between loyalty to her sister and her feelings for him. "But she was dying," Jake said. "I had to save her." "Saved her life," the older sister replied, her voice rising. "But in doing so, you have made her forget her duty to our people. We came to this world to find others like us, came to rebuild our civilization. Instead, she has bonded with someone who cannot even help us continue our species." The younger woman stepped between them. "Sister, that is not fair. Jake risked his life for me. He has shown us nothing but kindness." "Kindness?" The older sister laughed bitterly. "He has shown you affection, and you have mistaken it for love. You have forgotten that we are the last of our kind. You have forgotten that we have a responsibility to find other survivors and help them rebuild our world." Jake could feel the younger woman's pain through their connection. She was torn between 2 loyalties, 2 different visions of what her life should be. "I have not forgotten," she said quietly. "I think about our lost world every day. But I also think about the fact that we may be the only survivors. What if there are no others to find? What if we spend our whole lives searching for something that no longer exists?" "Then we search until we die," the older sister said firmly. That is what it means to be responsible for the continuation of our people. Jake had heard enough. With all due respect, you're being unfair to your sister. She nearly died, and now she's found some happiness. Why is that such a terrible thing? The older sister turned on him with fury in her eyes. Because you have made her selfish. For the bonding, she understood her duty. Now all she can think about is her own happiness. That's not true, the younger woman protested. I can think about both. I can care about our people and still care about Jake. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Yes, they do, the older sister said. As long as you are bonded to him, you will always choose him over our people. You will always put your personal happiness above our duty to rebuild our civilization. Jake felt anger rising in his chest, but he wasn't sure if it was his own anger or the younger woman's. You're wrong. I want to help you find other survivors. I want to help both of you build a new life here. You cannot help us, the older sister said coldly. You are not one of us. You'll never understand what we have lost or what we need to rebuild. The younger woman looked like she was about to cry. Through their connection, Jake could feel her heart breaking. She loved her sister, but she also loved him. The choice her sister was forcing her to make was tearing her apart. I will not choose, she said finally, her voice shaking. I will not choose between the two people I love most in this universe. If you cannot accept that Jake is part of my life now, then maybe you should continue your search alone. The older sister stared at her in shock. You would abandon your own sister for this stranger? I would not abandon anyone, the younger woman replied. But I will not be forced to choose between love and duty when I believe I can have both. The room fell silent. Jake could feel the weight of the moment, the way their lives were balanced on the edge of this decision. Whatever happened next would determine not just their immediate future, but the fate of their unusual family. The silence in Jake's cabin stretched on for what felt like hours, though it was probably only a few minutes. Jake could feel the younger woman's heart break through their connection, and it was almost unbearable. She was standing between him and her sister, tears streaming down her face, caught between two worlds that seemed impossible to bridge. Jake made a decision. He stepped forward, placing himself directly in front of the older sister. You're right about one thing, he said. Quietly, I'm not one of your people. I don't understand everything you've lost, or what it means to be responsible for rebuilding an entire civilization.
Oh.
But I do understand something else. The older sister crossed her arms, her expression still angry. What could you possibly understand about our situation? I understand loss, Jake said simply. 7 years ago, I lost my entire family in a wildfire. My parents, my younger brother, my grandparents who lived with us, they were all visiting me here in the mountains when the fire came through. I was out on patrol, and by the time I got back, they were gone. Through his connection with the younger woman, Jake felt her surprise and sympathy. She had seen some of his memories, but not this one. He had kept this pain buried so deep that even their bond hadn't reached it. I spent years blaming myself, Jake continued. I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to protect them. Instead, I was off doing my job, while my family died. For a long time, I thought my life was over. I thought there was no point in going on. The older sister's expression had softened slightly, but she remained silent. The only thing that saved me was helping other people, Jake said. Every time I rescued a lost hiker or helped someone in trouble, I felt like maybe their deaths hadn't been completely meaningless. Maybe I could honor their memory by making sure other families didn't go through what I went through. Jake looked over at the younger woman, who was watching him with eyes full of love and understanding. When I found you two, I wasn't thinking about thermal bonding or cultural significance or any of that, he said. I was thinking about saving a life. And yes, something incredible happened between your sister and me. But that doesn't mean I've forgotten about the bigger picture. The older sister uncrossed her arms. What are you trying to say? I'm saying that maybe we're approaching this all wrong, Jake replied. You think that your sister bonding with me means she's given up on finding other survivors? But what if it means the opposite? What if it means we now have a better chance of finding them? How do you figure that? The older sister asked, genuine curiosity replacing some of her anger. Jake walked over to his kitchen window and pointed. Outside, I've lived in these mountains my whole life. I know every trail, every road, every place where someone could hide. If there are other survivors from your world living on Earth, I can help you find them. But more than that, I can help. You understand, humans? The younger woman wiped away her tears. What do you mean? Think about it, Jake said, warming to his idea. If your people are going to rebuild their civilization, they're going to have to do it here, on Earth, alongside humans. To need allies, friends, people who understand both worlds. The thermal bonding didn't just connect your sister and me. It connected our species. Through their connection, Jake felt the younger woman's excitement as she began to understand what he was suggesting. He's right, she said to her sister. Through our bond, I understand humans in a way that no one from our world ever has. And he understands us. We could be bridges between our peoples. The older sister was quiet for a long moment, considering this. Even if that's true, she said finally, it doesn't change the fact that we need to find other survivors first. We don't even know if any others made it to Earth. Actually, Jake said, I might be able to help with that too. Both women looked at him with surprise. I've been thinking about this since you told me your story, Jake continued. If other ships crashed on Earth like yours did, there would have been reports. Strange lights in the sky, unexplained crashes, unusual energy readings. I have contacts. With rangers and emergency services all over the country, I can start making calls, asking questions. The older sister's eyes widened. You would do that, even after everything I said to you. Jake shrugged. You were protecting your sister and your people. Understand that. I would have done the same thing in your position. The younger woman walked over to her sister and took her hands. Don't you see? This is what I was trying to tell you. We don't have to choose between duty and happiness. We can have both. Jake isn't taking me away from our mission. He's helping us make it possible. The older sister looked between Jake and her sister, and for the first time since the confrontation began, she smiled slightly. I owe you an apology, she said to Jake. I was so afraid of losing my sister that I couldn't see what was really happening. You haven't stolen her from our people. You've given her something that will make her stronger, happier, more able to help rebuild our world. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him, both his own and the younger woman's. There's something else, the younger woman said. Through our connection, I've learned things about Earth that could help our people adapt here. And Jake has learned things about our technology that could help humans too. The thermal bonding wasn't just about saving my life. It was about creating a new kind of partnership. The older sister nodded slowly. A partnership between species, between worlds.
Exactly,
Jake said. And if we can find other survivors, we can help them form similar partnerships. We can help both our peoples learn from each other. The older sister walked over to Jake and, to his surprise, embraced him. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for saving my sister's life, and thank you for not giving up on us when I was being unreasonable. Jake hugged her back. We're family. Now that's what family does for each other. Over the next few hours, they made plans. Jake would use his contacts to search for other crash sites or unusual phenomena that might indicate other survivors. The older sister would continue working on their ship, but now with Jake's help and human tools, and the younger woman would work on documenting everything she had learned about both species through the thermal bonding. As the sun set over the mountains, the three of them sat on Jake's porch, looking up at the stars. Through his connection with the younger woman, Jake could feel her contentment and hope. She was no longer torn between two loyalties. She had found a way to honor both her love for him and her duty to her people. Do you think we'll find them? The older sister asked, looking up at the night sky. Do you think there are others out there? Jake squeezed the younger woman's hand. I don't know, he said honestly, but I know we'll never stop looking. And whatever we find, we'll face it together. The younger woman smiled and leaned against his shoulder. Together, she agreed, all three of us building something new. And under the vast canopy of stars, their new family began to plan for a future that none of them could have imagined just a few days before.